Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Keep up with all this, of course, at Tarpley.net. We also have Senator DeMint. Senator DeMint is railing that the Republicans should kick out Murkowski because she's a rhino. She's a Republican in name only. How does DeMint become so aggressive? Who is funding DeMint? Well, we saw a recent meeting. You can see the videotape of this on the Internet. You can see a meeting of the Citizens for Prosperity, or one of those groups, with David Koch of all people, giving DeMint the yearly award of that group. I would say, if you're guessing that DeMint is the long arm of the Koch or Koch brothers, you wouldn't be far wrong, would you? And that's where the money is coming from to push the extreme, ultra-reactionary agenda. We've also got this character by the name of Sal Russo, and that's the Tea Party Express operating out of California. Now, this was just a normal Republican political money operation. They were supporting McCain. I'm sure they supported the bailout, whatever this was. But now, when the Tea Party appears, they immediately plaster Tea Party onto their name, and they're out there duping everybody. And that's who's funding O'Donnell and also this character with the 5 o'clock shadow out there, Jay Miller, not the author of Funny Jokes, but the one who says that unemployment insurance is unconstitutional because it's not one of the enumerated powers. Just absolute baloney for Miller and his illiterate fundamentalist reading of the Constitution. Absolutely impossible. But let's look beyond these personalities. Now, we basically got three levels. One is the level of what these characters say as a party. Therefore, we have this pledge to America, which is largely vague. I don't think we need to spend too much on this. More important is when you get a reactionary like Buck in Colorado wants to privatize and sell off the VA hospitals. It means he's got a friend who wants to buy them. Miller, of course, with his enumerated powers. In order to believe in the enumerated powers, you've got to ignore the existence of that elastic clause at the end, right? All laws necessary and proper. You've got to ignore the general welfare provision. You've got to ignore basically 200 years of constitutional history. All of that out the window. No Hamilton, no John Marshall, no implied powers, no inherent powers, no nothing. And then we've got O'Donnell, the witch. Now, with O'Donnell, the witch, leading cokehead also, she says she was in New York for business last week. Wow, at the level of these people, if she's in New York, it can only be to meet with David Koch or Koch to tank up on funds. O'Donnell, the witch, though, has been pointed out that if she had her first date on a satanic altar with blood, that she's beyond Wiccan normal mainstream, let's say, but she's now passed into the far beyond of Satanism. So I wonder, all of you Christian fundamentalists and all of you social issues conservatives, are you comfortable in a Tea Party movement where O'Donnell, the satanic witch, is now welcome? And then we have Angle saying she doesn't like insurance regulations that mandate insurance protection for autism as well as for pregnant women, that is to say, mothers. How's that for family values, Angle? And notice Angle blames government for the fact she's being charged. He doesn't blame the superpower, the super profits of the insurance company. But let's look even beyond this. In other words, we have the pledge, then we have what they're actually saying on the campaign trail. But let's look beyond at the America that they're going for. What will it actually look like if these people, and I'm thinking in particular of privatizer Ryan and his gang, if they get their wish? First of all, the entire GI Bill will be rolled back. In other words, the benefits that the American working people got out of winning World War II, defeating fascism and holding off communism, these characters want to strip away. Part of their pledge is to shut down Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, basically get rid of them, liquidate them, privatize them. They won't be there anymore. Now, if you get rid of Fannie and Freddie, you can then go on to get rid of the FHA, right, the Federal Housing Administration. The idea that the American middle class owns its own home is out the window. So you will become a renter. You will be living in tenements. You will be a nomad. Maybe you'll be living in a Hooverville or an Obamaville or a Palinville or whatever that's going to be in the future. You will not have your own home. We've highlighted in previous weeks the word from Michael Barone, reactionary writer, that his friend Charles Murray, racist reactionary, at the American Enterprise Institute, is preparing a blueprint for a future in which you will not go to college. Most Americans, 95% of Americans, will not go to college. We can't afford that anymore. The Koch brothers don't want to be taxed for that, and Rupert Murdoch doesn't think it's a good idea. So you will not be going to college. You're going to go to trade school, and you won't be able to compete. But they can't think that far. They think of my money, my money, my money, and après my money, the deluge is their idea. So no more college. That's the other key feature of the GI Bill. There's also the GI Bill provision that you could get a loan to start a business. You won't be getting that either because there won't be any credit. Then the status of unions, right? Remember, it's only the Wagner Act of 1935 that says you have a right to form a union, and this is basically trampled on every day. I would say that with Privatizer Ryan and the rest of these people, if they come into power, led by Boehner, that the Wagner Act will finally be completely rolled back, right? Not just partially rolled back as it is with the Taft-Hartley Act. There will be no more unions. You will be essentially a mass of low-wage helots and slaves at coolie wages. And, of course, as we can see, even in the statements these people make on the campaign trail, they wish to destroy all entitlements. They wish to strip you of your Social Security, your Medicare, your Medicaid, your unemployment insurance, your food stamp benefits, the child labor laws, labor legislation in any form. Antitrust laws, of course, are going to be targeted, and essentially you will be left with nothing but your eyes to cry with. You will be flayed alive. And this allows us, this is a nightmare vision. It's a little bit like what happens to Jimmy Stewart in the Wonderful Life, right, when he comes back and sees what the town looks like if greedy old man Potter gets to control everything, right? There's organized crime, misery, despair, and so forth. And what these characters cannot see is that China will pull ahead, India will pull ahead, Europe will pull ahead at this rate. Everybody will pull ahead, and the United States will be locked into a monstrous future. I would appeal to them. A lot of them look back to the 1950s as a kind of a golden age when families were more or less intact, when one wage earner was enough to support a family, the woman could stay home and look after the kids. What do you think that was, oh reactionaries? That was the late New Deal. That was the New Deal under the rather benevolent administration of Eisenhower. And Eisenhower even had the sense to keep things going. Not only did he not tamper with the main New Deal programs, but he also launched the Interstate Highway Program and the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And with those two things, Eisenhower is a giant compared to these poisonous toads and pygmies that we have running around today, right? These Tea Party candidates, right? The Palins, the Angles, the witchy O'Donnell, the Miller, the Scott, right, and all these other characters. This, therefore, is the real future. Now, the other thing that has to be added is that the great danger is that the Democrats will now campaign in a big, huffy fit, right, attacking these reactionaries because they want to destroy Social Security, whereas we know that Obama and his gang are looking to cut a dirty deal through the Bowles-Simpson Commission in November, December that will privatize Social Security under somewhat less militant auspices. So there's the division of labor in this rotten ruling class, and we'll be back in a minute.